If you're seeing this right now, there's a reason your consciousness has been drawn to these exact words at this precise moment in space-time. What I'm about to reveal isn't just another manifestation technique or spiritual philosophy. This is the one quantum law that governs every single outcome in your reality, yet remains completely invisible to 99% of humanity. And here's what makes this moment so significant. The fact that you're here, reading these words, means you've already demonstrated the exact signature frequency that allows this law to reveal itself to you. Take a breath right here and notice something. There's a quality to your awareness right now that's different from your normal state. You can feel it, can't you? That slight shift in perception, that sense that something important is about to click into place. That's not coincidence. That's your quantum field recognizing itself in these words, preparing to remember something it's always known but temporarily forgot during the process of incarnating into physical form. What I'm going to share with you has been hidden in plain sight throughout human history. Ancient mystery schools encoded it in their teachings. Quantum physicists have stumbled upon it in their laboratories. Mystics have experienced it in their deepest meditations. But nobody has connected all the pieces into a framework that makes it accessible, practical, and immediately applicable to your daily life until this exact moment. Here's the quantum law that changes everything. Reality doesn't respond to what you want, what you believe, or even what you visualize. Reality responds exclusively to what you are at the quantum frequency level. Let that land for a moment. Everything you've been taught about manifestation, about creating your reality, about the law of attraction, has been missing this one critical element. You've been trying to broadcast signals to the universe through your thoughts and emotions, not realizing that the universe doesn't receive those signals the way you think it does. The universe is not listening to your words, your affirmations, or your vision boards. The universe is reading your quantum signature, the electromagnetic frequency pattern that your entire being broadcasts every single moment. And here's the part that nobody tells you. Your quantum signature is determined not by what you consciously think, but by what you unconsciously are. Scientists at the HeartMath Institute discovered something extraordinary that mainstream science tried to suppress. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends approximately 8 to 10 feet from your body, in all directions. This field carries information, and it's being read by every single person, animal, plant, and quantum probability field within its range. But here's where it gets profound. This field isn't broadcasting your conscious intentions. It's broadcasting your deepest identity, your core frequency, the truth of what you believe yourself to be at the most fundamental level. You could stand in front of a mirror every morning saying, "I am abundant," while your quantum signature is screaming, "I am lacking." You could visualize your dream life in perfect detail while your electromagnetic field broadcasts, "I am unworthy of receiving." And the universe will respond not to your conscious effort, but to your unconscious transmission every single time. This is why people can do everything right, follow every manifestation protocol, maintain positive thoughts, and still experience the same limiting patterns. They're trying to override their quantum signature with conscious intention, which is like trying to change the ocean's tide by standing on the beach and asking nicely. But when you understand this quantum law, when you grasp how to actually shift your core frequency rather than just your surface thoughts, everything transforms, not gradually, not eventually, instantly. Because you're finally working with the actual mechanism through which consciousness creates reality instead of fighting against it. Now, let me reveal what's been happening in your life that led you to this exact moment. You've probably noticed that certain patterns keep repeating no matter how much personal development work you do. The same type of relationship dynamics show up with different people. The same financial ceiling appears no matter which opportunity you pursue. The same emotional states cycle through, regardless of external circumstances changing. These aren't coincidences or bad luck or karmic punishment. These are quantum feedback loops where your unconscious frequency signature keeps collapsing probability waves into similar outcomes because the signature itself hasn't shifted. You've been rearranging the furniture while the foundation of the house remains unchanged. Here's what's actually happening at the quantum level that modern physics has proven but spiritual teachings have missed. Every atom in your body is constantly exchanging particles with every other atom in the universe through quantum entanglement. You are not separate from anything. You're not an isolated consciousness trying to manifest external things. You are the quantum field, temporarily experiencing itself as an individual. When physicists say that observation collapses the wave function, they're describing something far more profound than most people realize. It's not your eye looking at something that collapses quantum possibilities into definite outcomes. It's your entire being, your complete frequency signature, your total electromagnetic pattern that serves as the observation collapsing infinite potential into your specific experience. The reason this law remains hidden from 99% of people is that it requires a complete identity shift that most humans will never make. Most people spend their entire lives trying to get things from reality, trying to change their circumstances, trying to attract what they want. But this quantum law reveals that you can't get what you want. You can only become the frequency that naturally experiences what you want as its baseline reality. This isn't semantic wordplay. This is the literal mechanism of quantum manifestation. A radio doesn't attract the music to itself through effort or desire. A radio receives the music that was always broadcasting by tuning its frequency to match the station's frequency. You don't manifest your desires through wanting them intensely enough. You experience your desires by becoming the frequency at which those experiences naturally exist. Let me prove this to you through something you've already experienced but never consciously recognized. Think about a time when something you wanted showed up effortlessly, when synchronicity felt magical, when doors opened without you pushing. If you examine that experience honestly, you'll notice something specific. In that moment, you weren't desperately wanting the outcome. You weren't trying to force manifestation. You had somehow, even temporarily, embodied the frequency of already having it, of being the person to whom such things naturally occur. That wasn't luck. That was you accidentally aligning with this quantum law. And what I'm going to show you is how to do it deliberately, consistently, permanently. The ancient Egyptians understood this principle through their concept of Ka and Ba, the quantum body and the soul body. They knew that physical reality was the densest expression of consciousness, and that by shifting the Ka, the energetic template, the physical Ba would reorganize itself to match. Their entire spiritual technology was designed around frequency modification at the quantum level. The Vedic rishis described it through the concept of sankalpa, not as wishful thinking, but as quantum seed intention planted in the unified field. They understood that consciousness at its deepest level was already unified with all possible outcomes, and that manifestation was simply selecting which timeline to experience by matching its frequency. Modern quantum physics has now validated what these ancient systems always knew. The double-slit experiment proved that particles exist in superposition, in all possible states simultaneously, until observation collapses them into specific states. But the profound implication that most people miss is this: you are in superposition. All possible versions of you, living all possible timelines, exist simultaneously in the quantum field right now. The version of you living your dream life exists. The version of you who has already achieved everything you're working toward exists. Not as future potential, not as possibility, as present reality in the quantum field where all timelines are happening simultaneously. So manifestation isn't about creating something new, it's about shifting your frequency to align with the timeline where you already are what you're trying to become. It's about quantum jumping from one existing reality to another existing reality by changing the signature that determines which reality you experience. If this is creating a shift in your awareness, if something inside you is recognizing the truth of what I'm sharing, then comment below with this exact phrase: I am the frequency. Don't type it casually. Let it be a quantum declaration, a conscious acknowledgement that you're ready to operate from this level of understanding rather than continuing to play in the shallow end of manifestation teaching. Now let me reveal the practical mechanics of how to actually apply this quantum law, because understanding alone changes nothing. You need activation, integration, embodiment. Your quantum signature is composed of three primary components that most people have never consciously examined. First, there's your baseline emotional frequency, the default emotional state your nervous system returns to when nothing particularly good or bad is happening. For most people, this baseline sits somewhere between anxiety and mild dissatisfaction, which broadcasts a frequency of lack, separation, and survival mode to the quantum field. Second, there's your identity structure, the collection of unconscious beliefs about who you are and what you deserve that were installed during childhood and reinforced through repetition. These beliefs operate like software running in the background, executing programs you never consciously chose. They determine what feels possible versus impossible, natural versus unnatural, safe versus threatening. Third, there's your coherence level, the degree to which your conscious intentions and unconscious patterns are aligned or in conflict. Low coherence means your conscious desires and unconscious programming are broadcasting opposite signals, creating quantum static that prevents clear manifestation. High coherence means your entire being is broadcasting a unified frequency that the quantum field can read clearly and respond to accordingly. Here's where most manifestation teaching fails. It tries to change your reality by adding new conscious thoughts on top of your existing unconscious structure. It's like trying to change what a radio plays by shouting different songs at it while it's tuned to a specific station. The radio will keep playing what it's tuned to receive, regardless of what you shout at it. True quantum manifestation requires going deeper than thought, deeper than emotion, deeper than belief, all the way down to the frequency level where your identity actually generates the electromagnetic signature that reality responds to. The technique I'm about to share is not something you do once and forget. This is a fundamental recalibration of your operating system. This is quantum surgery on the identity structure that's been running your life from behind the scenes. It's called the Quantum Identity Integration Protocol, and it works by creating coherence between all three components of your quantum signature. Here's how it functions. Phase 1. Frequency archaeology. You must first become conscious of what your current quantum signature actually is, because you cannot shift what you're not aware of. For the next 7 days, set 3 alarms throughout your day at random times. When each alarm sounds, immediately stop whatever you're doing and check in with 3 things. What emotion am I feeling right now beneath whatever I'm thinking about? Not the story, not the mental narrative, just the raw emotional frequency in your body. What does this emotional frequency believe about who I am and what's possible for me? If this feeling could speak, what would it say about your identity and your relationship with reality? Is this frequency coherent with what I consciously want to experience? Or is there a split between what I'm saying I want and what I'm unconsciously broadcasting? Write down your observations without judgment. You're not trying to change anything yet. You're simply illuminating the unconscious signature that's been collapsing your quantum possibilities into your current experience. Most people have never done this level of honest frequency archaeology. They live their entire lives unconscious of the signal they're broadcasting, wondering why reality keeps giving them the same results. You cannot shift a frequency you refuse to acknowledge. Phase 2. Quantum timeline selection. Once you've mapped your current frequency, the next phase is to identify the specific timeline you want to align with. But this isn't visualization in the traditional sense. You're not imagining something you don't have. You're tuning into a parallel reality where a version of you already exists, experiencing what you desire. Close your eyes and feel into this. Somewhere in the quantum field, there's a version of you living your ideal life right now, not in the future, now. That version has a specific frequency signature, a particular emotional baseline, a certain way of moving through the world. Your task is not to create that version. Your task is to feel that version. What does that timeline you feel like when they wake up in the morning? What's their default emotional state throughout the day? How do they hold themselves, breathe, make decisions, respond to challenges? You're not trying to become that version through effort or achievement. You're trying to feel what it feels like to already be that version. This is crucial. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you want to become. It responds to what you are. So you must practice being the frequency of your desired timeline before that timeline can become your experienced reality. Spend 20 minutes every morning in this quantum state, not visualizing, not affirming, not trying to convince yourself, simply resting in the frequency signature of the timeline where you already are who you're becoming. This isn't fantasy or imagination. This is quantum tuning, adjusting your receiver to match the broadcast of a parallel reality that exists as validly as your current one. Phase 3. Coherence activation. This is where most people fail, even when they understand the previous phases. They tune into the desired frequency during meditation, then immediately snap back to their default signature the moment they engage with daily life. They create a split between their practice frequency and their living frequency, which generates the quantum static I mentioned earlier. True transformation requires bringing your elevated frequency into your actual moment-to-moment experience. This means you must begin making different micro-choices throughout your day, choices that reinforce your new signature rather than your old one. If your desired timeline operates from abundance consciousness, Then when you feel the impulse to check your bank account anxiously, you must recognize that impulse as your old frequency trying to reassert itself. In that moment, you consciously choose the response pattern of your desired timeline. How would the abundant version of you relate to money? What would they do in this moment? If your desired timeline operates from confidence and self-worth, then when you feel the familiar pattern of self-doubt arising, you must see it as old programming trying to maintain its existence. In that moment, you consciously embody the frequency of your desired timeline. How would that version of you meet this situation? This isn't positive thinking or fake it till you make it. This is quantum timeline navigation. Every micro-choice you make either strengthens your alignment with your old signature or your new one. And the quantum field is reading these choices, responding to the frequency they broadcast, collapsing probabilities accordingly. Here's what happens when you consistently apply this protocol with genuine commitment. Within 30 to 40 days, you'll notice your baseline emotional frequency beginning to shift. What used to feel natural and normal starts feeling strange and incompatible. What used to feel aspirational and distant starts feeling familiar and accessible. This is not placebo effect. This is measurable quantum coherence increasing in your electromagnetic field. Studies on meditation practitioners show that consistent frequency work actually changes the measurable electromagnetic patterns emanating from the body. You're not imagining a shift. You're creating a biological, neurological, electromagnetic shift in your entire system. And when your quantum signature shifts, reality must reorganize itself to match, not through magic, through physics, through the same mechanism by which observation collapses wave functions into particles. Your new frequency serves as a new observation pattern, collapsing different quantum probabilities into your experience. Synchronicities begin multiplying. Opportunities appear from unexpected directions. People respond to you differently without you changing your behavior. Resources flow more easily. Obstacles that seemed immovable suddenly dissolve. This isn't the universe rewarding you. This is you finally broadcasting a clear signal that the quantum field can organize itself around. But let me address something critical that will determine whether you actually apply this or just consume it as interesting information. Your ego mind is going to resist this process intensely because this process threatens its existence. Your ego is composed of your old identity structure, your familiar patterns, your known self. When you begin shifting your quantum signature, you're literally dismantling the ego's foundation. The resistance will show up as doubt. This sounds too simple. Real change requires more effort. As skepticism, quantum physics doesn't actually work this way. This is just spiritual bypassing. As distraction, suddenly you'll feel urgently called to do literally anything except this practice. As delay, I'll start this properly next week when I have more time. Recognize these patterns as the old frequency trying to maintain its existence. Your current quantum signature has an investment in keeping you where you are because it's familiar, safe, known. Change at the frequency level feels threatening to the structure that's been running your life. This is why only 1% will ever actually apply this quantum law, even though many more will understand it intellectually. Most people prefer the comfort of familiar suffering over the discomfort of unknown transformation. They want reality to change while they stay the same, which violates the fundamental principle of quantum manifestation. But you're different, or you wouldn't have made it this far through this transmission. Something in you recognizes that you're ready for frequency-level transformation, not just surface-level improvement. Something in you knows that your current signature has taken you as far as it can, and a new signature must emerge if you're going to experience what's waiting for you in other timelines. Let me share what happens when you reach what I call quantum threshold, the point where your new signature becomes more dominant than your old one. It usually occurs somewhere between 40 and 60 days of consistent practice, and it's unmistakable when it happens. You'll wake up one morning and realize that your baseline state has fundamentally shifted. The anxiety, the doubt, the sense of something missing that used to color your experience is simply gone. Not suppressed, not transcended through spiritual effort, just absent, like a radio signal that's no longer broadcasting. In its place is a quality of okayness that doesn't depend on circumstances, a trust that doesn't require evidence, a sense of being supported by reality rather than struggling against it. This isn't peace in the conventional sense. This is quantum coherence, where your conscious desires and unconscious signature have merged into unified broadcast. From this state, manifestation stops being something you do and becomes something that happens through you. You don't try to attract opportunities. They appear naturally in your field. You don't force outcomes. They unfold organically. You don't seek validation. You generate it internally through the coherence of your own frequency. This is what all spiritual traditions have pointed toward through different languages. The Buddhists call it Buddha nature, your original face before you were born. The Christians call it Christ consciousness, dying to the old self and being reborn in spirit. The Hindus call it self-realization, recognizing that your individual consciousness was never separate from universal consciousness. They're all describing the same quantum phenomenon, shifting from identification with your local, limited, conditioned self to recognition of your non-local, unlimited, unconditioned nature. And when you make that shift at the frequency level, not just as intellectual understanding but as embodied reality, the quantum field must reorganize your experience to match. I'm curious about your own experience with this. Comment below with one word that describes the frequency you're ready to embody moving forward. Not the frequency you've been living from, but the frequency you're choosing to become. Let that word be your quantum seed, planted in the field through this declaration. Now, let me reveal the final piece that makes this quantum law accessible rather than just theoretical. There's a specific brainwave state that allows you to directly access and modify your quantum signature. It's called the theta-gamma coupling state, where your brain simultaneously generates slow theta waves associated with deep meditation and fast gamma waves associated with heightened awareness. Most people never access this state spontaneously because it requires training your nervous system to hold two seemingly opposite qualities simultaneously: deep relaxation and sharp focus. But when you learn to generate theta-gamma coupling, you gain direct conscious access to the quantum layer where your signature is generated. Neuroscientists studying advanced meditators discovered that this brainwave pattern appears consistently in individuals who report the most profound transformational experiences. These aren't people who meditate casually for stress relief. These are practitioners who use meditation as quantum technology for consciousness modification. The protocol for generating theta-gamma coupling is precise. You need to create a state of profound physical relaxation where your body releases all holding patterns and tension, allowing theta waves to emerge naturally. Simultaneously, you need to maintain a quality of awareness that's sharp, present, and focused, which generates gamma activity. Most meditation techniques emphasize one or the other. Relaxation practices generate theta, but lose the focused awareness needed for gamma. Concentration practices generate gamma, but create tension that prevents theta. Theta-gamma coupling requires mastering both simultaneously. Here's the practical entry point. Lie down in a completely dark, quiet space. Begin with progressive relaxation, systematically releasing tension from every muscle group, starting with your feet and moving upward through your body. Take at least 15 minutes with this phase. You're not trying to fall asleep. You're trying to become so physically relaxed that your brain waves shift into theta range while you maintain awareness. Once your body is completely relaxed, shift your attention to the space between your thoughts. Not trying to stop thoughts, but noticing the gap that exists between one thought and the next. This gap is where gamma waves are generated, in that sharp presence that exists before thinking begins. Rest in this state, deeply relaxed body, sharply aware mind, holding both qualities simultaneously. This is where quantum access occurs. From this state, you can directly feel your current frequency signature, not as a concept, but as a living vibration in your field. And from this state, you can consciously shift that signature by intending a new frequency pattern and letting it ripple through your electromagnetic field. Not forcing, not straining, simply allowing the new pattern to emerge and stabilize while you remain in theta-gamma coherence. When you practice this protocol regularly, something remarkable happens. Your quantum signature becomes malleable, responsive, upgradable. What was rigid and unconscious becomes fluid and conscious. You gain the ability to sculpt your frequency in real time, rather than being trapped in whatever pattern was installed during childhood. This is the ultimate application of the quantum law I've been revealing. You stop being a victim of your unconscious programming and become a conscious architect of your frequency signature. And when your signature shifts, everything shifts, because reality literally cannot maintain old patterns when you're broadcasting a new frequency. The 99% will never access this because it requires a level of commitment to inner work that most people aren't willing to make. They want transformation without practice, results without discipline, quantum shifts without quantum protocols. But that's not how physics works. You cannot tune a radio to a new station by wishing. You must turn the dial. You're being invited right now to make a choice that will determine the trajectory of your entire existence. You can consume this information as interesting content and return to your default frequency, in which case, nothing changes, and you continue experiencing the same quantum collapse patterns you've always experienced. Or you can recognize this moment as the quantum threshold it actually is, commit to the protocols I've shared, and discover that you have far more power over your reality than you've been allowed to believe. The quantum field is not separate from you. It's not something you're trying to influence from outside. You are the quantum field, and you've always had the ability to shift your frequency and watch reality reorganize accordingly. If you're feeling the truth of this landing in your system, then I invite you to subscribe not just to this channel, but to this frequency of living. Hit that subscribe button as a declaration to the quantum field that you're choosing conscious evolution over unconscious repetition. Your subscription isn't about content consumption, it's about energetic alignment with others who understand that reality is far more fluid, far more responsive, far more magnificent than consensus thinking allows. Everything I've shared here is just the foundation of what becomes possible when you truly understand and apply this quantum law. There are levels beyond levels, frequencies beyond frequencies, capabilities that emerge when you master the basics and are ready for advanced quantum navigation. But start here. Start with frequency archaeology to illuminate your current signature. Start with quantum timeline selection to feel the frequency of your desired reality. Start with coherence activation to bring that frequency into your daily living. Start with theta-gamma coupling to gain direct access to your quantum layer. Do this consistently for 60 days without missing a single day, and I guarantee you'll experience shifts in your reality that will prove beyond any doubt that this quantum law is real, active, and responsive to your frequency signature. The universe has been waiting for you to remember this. Your higher self has been trying to reveal this through every synchronicity, every intuitive hit, every moment of unexpected flow you've experienced. This isn't new information being added to your awareness. This is ancient knowledge being remembered, quantum truth being recognized, your own power being reclaimed. Welcome home to your true nature as a conscious frequency generator. Welcome home to your role as quantum creator rather than circumstantial victim. Welcome home to the understanding that you are not in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself as you. The quantum law is simple. Reality responds to frequency. Your frequency determines your experience. Your frequency is under your conscious control once you learn the protocols. And now you know the protocols. The only question remaining is, will you apply them? Or will you be part of the 99% who understands intellectually but never transforms actually? The quantum field is watching. Your next choice collapses the wave function of your future into either continued limitation or unlimited possibility. Choose wisely. The frequency you embody in this moment is creating your reality in the next. You are the quantum law in action. Now prove it.